भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita summarized. Text 1. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Kripayavistam Ashrupunakulakshanam Visidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanah.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words.
Text 2. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva idam Vishame samupastitam Anarya justam swargayam Akirtim karam Arjuna.
Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy.
Text 3. Kalebhyam asma gamaha Partha netva tvayupapadyate Kshudram hridaya durbalyam Tyaktotishtam parantapa.
O son of Partha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Text 4. Arjuna uvacha Katham bhismam aham sankhye Dronam cha madhusudana Isubhihi pratiyochyami Pujarha varisudana.
Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
Text 5. Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan Shreyo bhoktum peksham api haloke Atvartha kamastu guru niheva Punjiya bhoganarudhi pradiktan.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Text 6. Nachetam vidma katarannagaryo yada vajayem yadivanujujayeyo yaneva hatva najijivisamas teva stita pramukhe dhartarashtra.
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Text 7. Karpanya dosopahata svabhava Prichami tva dharma sammudacheta Yashreyashani ishchitam bruhitan me Shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple, and the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Text 8. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yacchokamuchoshanamindriyanam avapya bhumavasapatnamritam rajam shuranam api chadipatyam.
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Text 9. Sanjaya Uvacha Evamukva Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Nayotsya iti Govindam Uktva tu Shri Babuvaha.
Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent.
Text 10. Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prahashanniva Bharata Shenayor Ubayor Madhye Visidantam Idam Vacha.
O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
Text 11. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Asochyana Vasochat Swam Pragyavadanscha Bhashashe Asuna Gatasuscha Nanu Sochanti Pandita.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead.
Text 12. Natvevaham jatu nasham natvam neme janadipa nachevam na bhavishyamah sarve vayamata param.
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
Text 13. Dehinu asmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Text 14. Matra sparshatu konteya shitoshna shukadukada agama payino anityastanti tikshva bharata.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and the disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Text 15. Yam hi na vyachayante te purusham purusharsabha samadukha sukham dhiram somrutatvaya kalpate.
O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation.
Text 16. Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah upayorapi drustonta svanayostatvadarshibhi.
Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
Text 17. Avinasi tu tadaviddi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasya na kyaschit kartum arhati.
That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Text 18. Antavanta ime deha nitya shukta sharineha anashino aprameyasya tasmadyudhyasva bharata.
The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Text 19. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhoto na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate.
Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not, nor is slain.
Text 20. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya ajo nityah sasvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sarire.
For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Text 21. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sha purusha partha kam katayati hantikam.
O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
Text 22. Vansasijinani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnan anyani sayyati navani dehi.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Text 23. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavakah na chainam kaledyantyap tyapo na shoshayati marutaha.
The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind.
Text 24. Achetyo ayam dahyo ayam kaledyo shoshya evacha nityah sarvagatah sthanur achalo ayam sanatanaha.
This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Please forgive any mistakes.
Thank you so very much. No, you didn't make any mistakes. You were reciting very, very well. Very nice Sanskrit. And Gautam Mataji, very nice English recitation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let me just get my presentation up so I can share this. Okay, can you all see now?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, I've got the message. Did any of you have a problem logging in?
No,
Yes,
no,
Mataji. No, you didn't have any problem.
There is Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu who says he's not able to log in. I don't know if he's logged in now. I can't see him.
Mataji, he needs to type in the code and then the password on Zoom on his phone.
I think he's done that. He says the password is wrong, but you know, I'll just say to him. He even sent a text to.
Maybe first was a capital word, isn't it? So, and the other rest are small letters. So maybe there some problem.
No, it's the link. I couldn't use the link. I had to then type in the numbers and then the password.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
asking me to update the Zoom that I have on the phone. So maybe
Oh.
that's what I'm experiencing.
Oh, maybe. Okay, I'll just let him know. Can you just call him and tell him he'll have to probably type the link in or something? Type the link that's sent and the password because everybody else has logged in. So yeah, just let him know because I can't see him online. Okay. All right. Sorry for that. But yeah, we'll continue with our discussion of chapter 2, which is contents of the summarized. Can I ask all of you to please mute yourselves? Because otherwise there is disturbance. Okay, can everybody see the slide now?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, I'm having some problems with my computer, which is very funny. Okay. All right, okay. Yes, so we will continue with the chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. And today we are on verse 3. So we'll just recite this verse now. Klaibyam asmagama partha naitattvai upapadyate shudram hridaya dorbalyam tyakto votishta parantapa. Translation: O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Does anybody want to read the purport, please?
Can I try, Mataji?
Please, of course.
Sorry, I'm reading from the phone, so just bear with me.
No problem.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna was addressed as the son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmanas in a name only. Such a Kshatriya and a Brahmanas are... Sorry, Mataji?
I didn't say anything, sorry.
Sorry, Prabhu. Such a Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all this credit, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna, could you just move the screen a little bit up, Mataji? Thank you. Did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by a person like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. Hare Krishna, please forgive my any mistakes.
Okay. Sorry, I was having some problems with my computer. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, before we continue, we'll just recite our prayers. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta राधाकान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नम ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चातादेशतारिणे। Okay, so this seems like a small, a little purport and whatever, but there are some very, very important teachings that we can take from obviously what Krishna is teaching Arjuna. We've discussed in the past that the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, but through Arjuna, he is speaking to all of us. So there are lots of things that we can learn from all that is happening here and all that Krishna is speaking. Now, as we know, at this stage, Arjuna is, in the previous chapter, we've seen that Arjuna has said to Krishna that he is not willing to fight. He would rather, beg, leave everything, go to the forest, beg and survive, but he does not want to fight. So in the chapter 2, it has started with Krishna actually chastising Arjuna. And in very, very harsh words, Krishna is chastising Arjuna. In the first 3 verses, we are seeing that Krishna is calling, Arjuna by different names and kind of almost insulting him. So in this particular verse also, we can see that Krishna is addressing Arjuna with different names. The first one he says is Klaibyam. He says Klaibyam to him. He says, Klaibyam masma gama partha. So Klaibyam, Prabhupada has given the translation as impotence. Now, there is a particular reason why Krishna is using this word over here. So this goes back to the story when, I'm sure most of you know this story, but we'll just very in short, briefly just go over this. So Arjuna once had gone to his father, that is King Indra's kingdom and palace. And over there, when he was, sorry, can everybody please mute themselves? Sorry. So over there, when he was in the palace, in the assembly, and the various apsaras were dancing. Arjuna obviously was sitting there as a Kshatriya, as the son of Lord Indra, and was enjoying the dances. Indra thought that Arjuna is quite taken in by Urvashi, the Apsara Urvashi. And so he decided that he is through somebody, he sent a message that to Urvashi that you will please me very much if you go to Arjuna and please him. So Urvashi, of course, wanted to please Indra because she was in his palace, and so she went to Arjuna's room, and when Arjuna saw her, he was full of like, in a sense that, of respect. And he was wondering why she's here and what can I do for you? And Urvashi said that, I have come to enjoy with you, to sport with you. And at that time, Arjuna kept looking down. He did not even look up, and he said, I treat you just as I treat my mother Kunti. You know, you are, for me, in my eyes, I hold the same respect for you. And at that time, Urvashi was very, very upset and angry. And she, in fact, there's a long past time, but we'll just say it in short. So she cursed him that you will become impotent for a year. And so this actually happened. And if we know the story of the Mahabharata, where the Pandavas were sent to the forest for 12 years, and then 1 year they had to be incognito, where nobody should be able to recognize them. And at that time, in fact, Arjuna was dressed as a female, as Brihanala, and he was they all stayed in the kingdom of Virat, where he was actually
Let me message Rehan.
I'm not sure who is
Cross if they had it in the store.
can you mute yourself?
Cross.
Sorry, I'm not able to do it from here for some reason. I don't know why, but please can everybody mute yourselves?
But it wasn't in stock.
I don't know who is, because I'm not able to, because I'm on my slide, I'm not able to like see who is, okay, anyways, the sound is gone, so that's good. All right, so I'll continue. So yes, yeah, Arjuna as this dressed as a female, as Brihanala, was in fact the dance teacher for the daughter of King Virat. So here, Krishna is calling him Klaibyam now for two reasons. One, obviously reminding him this. But the other thing was, the other incident was that when Arjuna was in the kingdom of Virat as Brihanala, at that time the Kauravas kind of found out that the Pandavas are hiding here. And so they came with their huge army, Duryodhan and Karna and all the Kauravas, to fight a battle. And Brihanala at that time single-handedly was able to fight with the Kauravas and defeat all of them. So Krishna here is saying that when you were Brihanala, dressed as a female, you showed the qualities of a Kshatriya, you showed the qualities of Arjuna. And today on the battlefield, you are Arjuna, but you are behaving like as if you are impotent. So these are the reasons why he's kind of reminding Arjuna about these incidents. So that is why he's using the name, that is why he's calling him Klaibyam, that you're impotent. And remember one thing, that for a Kshatriya to be called impotent, because Kshatriyas are very well known for their strength, their courage, and for how brave they are. So to be called impotent is a huge insult. Okay. Then next. Then Krishna is also addressing Arjuna as Partha. Partha as in the son of Pritha. Pritha is Kunti Maharani. And here again, Krishna has got a purpose why he's addressing Arjuna as Partha. So there are two incidents related to this term also. There may be others, but these are the two incidents at the moment which Krishna is trying to remind Arjuna of. So again, we'll go back to the incident in Mahabharata when Krishna went to the palace of Duryodhan as a peace messenger, trying to discourage Duryodhan and the Kauravas to go ahead with this battle. And he went asking, you know, even if you just gave 5 small villages, the Pandavas will be happy. And as we all know, Duryodhan being Duryodhan would not agree to even do that. He did not even want to give them as much land as on the pinprick of a needle. So Duryodhan at that time was very angry, and he asked for his guards to actually tie Krishna up and put him in the prison. So during this time, when Krishna visited the palace, at that time, he also saw Kunti Maharani. And Kunti Maharani, in fact, gave a message to Krishna for Arjuna. And at that time, she said to Krishna that this was specially for Arjuna. And she said that remind Arjuna, tell him that he is born of a Shatrani. That means a Kshatriya lady. And that is why he cannot behave like a coward. He should not be afraid. The thing is, Krishna and the others kind of knew that the battle is inevitable, and Kunti Maharani also knew it, and that is why she was trying to say this, a message that Arjuna should not step back from from the battle, and he should not behave cowardly. And she also reminded Krishna, not that Krishna needs any reminding, but she said to Krishna that when Arjuna was born, when Kaunteya was born, there was Akashvani, there was a sound from the skies that, and it was said that just by the sound of Arjuna's bow, the Gandiva, the enemy soldiers will be so scared that they will pass urine and stool on the battlefield just by hearing the sound of the Gandiva. So she asked Krishna to remind these things. She also said other things that, you have, those were other things that maybe we shouldn't go into because then the discussion goes quite long. So she she asked Krishna to give this message to Arjuna. And here, by calling Arjuna Partha, Krishna is reminding him that you are the son of that Kunti, you are the son of Pritha, who had asked me to give these messages to you. So remember these messages, right? And then the other incident is, as we all know, that Dronacharya was the teacher of the Pandavas and of course the Kauravas as well. And after they had finished their studies, the Pandavas gave Guru Dakshina to Dronacharya. And there were various things, various incidents where they gave different kinds of Guru Dakshina. At that time, Dronacharya asked Arjuna for a specific and a private Guru Dakshina. And what was that Guru Dakshina? He said to Arjuna that if ever I am your opponent on a battlefield, and if you have to fight me and kill me, then your hands should not shiver in doing that. And you have to give me that promise because you are a Kshatriya, and he called him Partha at that time. Oh Partha, you have to give me this promise that your hands will not shiver. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Partha so that he remembers these things. Now, obviously, Krishna is trying to get this emotion of a Kshatriya, of a warrior in Arjuna. But also, what he's trying to do is where Arjuna is, last week we discussed how Arjuna is still on the stage of Dharma Shastra, where he's talking about the dharmas that, he cannot do this because it is wrong, or he cannot do this because, whatever else. He's giving so many excuses. So here Krishna is saying that, where is your dharma as a Kshatriya to fulfill the promises that you have made? So that is why he's being addressed as Partha here. And then Krishna also addresses Arjuna as Parantapa. Parantapa means chastiser of the enemies. So in this verse, it's almost like, sometimes when we are like, let's say when we are upset, like let's say, if a child is being naughty and he's broken something, and we'll be like, oh my dear child, well done. It's not like you're saying that, what a fantastic thing you've done, but you're trying to be kind of, trying to be like sarcastic, that. So here, Krishna is saying to Arjuna that you are the chastiser of the enemies. So, how can you put your bow and arrow down and say that you will not fight? So these are the various terms that have been used, and these are the various reasons why Krishna is actually using this term. And in fact, Prabhupada in the purport says that, if the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, then he is a Kshatriya in name only, because that is his duty. He must fulfill his duty. Like if a Brahmana acts impiously, then he's a Brahmana in name only. So all of these things is going on. And Prabhupada is explaining that Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna. And Krishna did not want that if this will discredit Arjuna. And obviously, Arjuna is Krishna's friend, so he did not want this. He did not want Arjuna to be behaving like this. Okay, let's move on. Then the other very important phrase that we should discuss is Krishna says, Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam. So Shudram here has been translated as petty. And Hridaya Dorbalyam. So weakness of the heart. When we talk about the strength and we think of the bodily strength, and bodily strength, we can lift weights and all of these things. But then there is also something else, which is the strength of the heart. And it's being discussed here that we cannot really base our decisions on emotions, because something may be painful, something may not be painful, but if it is essential, it needs to be done. And when I was researching this verse, one of the analogies used was that for a mother carrying a baby and then giving birth is not always very, very easy. In fact, I don't know how many of you mothers, but I've heard and read that a lot of first-time mothers say that after the childbirth, the common emotion is that never again, I'm never going to have a child again. But they do go on to that, have children. Some don't, but that's it's a choice. What I'm saying is that just because it is difficult does not mean that one so gives up that duty. So to abdicate one's duty because of emotional shock is weakness of the heart. So here Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that you cannot behave like this. You cannot show weakness of the heart. That does not befit you at all as a Kshatriya. Besides that, this weakness that you're showing is so petty, but the results of this is going to be very, very huge, and you cannot be like this. You cannot have this weakness. And in fact, he says that so over here Shudra is used as petty, but Shudra also is part of the Varnas, right? And we've read and spoken about the Varnas before. So we have the 4 Varnas, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So each of the Varnas, now please remember one thing, that this is not based on the birth, this is based on the qualities that one has. So like a Brahmanas should have spiritual knowledge, a Kshatriya displays power and strength, Vaishyas use money to do business, and Shudras generally will give in to lamentation. Prabhupada used to use this phrase, Sochati iti Shudra. That is that the Shudras, whenever there is any kind of problems or calamities, they cannot think of how to deal with these calamities. They just give in to lamentation. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna that you don't give in to this weakness. The thing is that when we have let's say worrying thoughts, if we dwell on those thoughts, then we get more and more worried. But thoughts are such that they come and they go. So if you allow even the worrying thoughts to just come and go, then they cannot take hold of you. Any anarthas can only take hold of your consciousness if you allow it. So over here, Krishna is saying that you need to give up. He says, the word he uses is tyakta. You need to give up this and uttishto, get up and fight. Because this dorbalyam does not befit you at all. And you are talking about this compassion, and you want to forgive everybody. It's that's not what a kshatriya does. That is a quality of a brahmana, but not of a kshatriya. Like, for example, that if there is like, let's say on the street there's a fight that's happening, and if there is a policeman standing there and he's just watching and not doing anything about it, that is wrong, because he's not fulfilling his duty. So here what Krishna is teaching is that Arjuna is talking about dharma and adharma. But adharma is of two kinds. One is when you on purpose are doing wrong things, but the other is when you refuse to perform your prescribed duties. By that also you will be procuring sins. Some people may think that, I will not do anything at all so that I don't get any sinful reactions. But that does not work. Krishna is teaching us that we cannot say that I will not do anything and hope that I will not get any reaction, because that does not work. If you don't perform your prescribed duties, then also you are getting sins, because that is also a dharma. And so, like I said, before I say that, I've just taken some verses from the Bhagavad Gita. We don't need to go through each of them, but what these verses are doing, and I should have written the chapter number, which I've forgotten. It is from chapter 18, actually. We've just done it actually a couple of weeks back. So here, all the qualities of the different varnas is being described. So over here it says that, yes, for a brahmana, it is his qualities is peacefulness, self-control, purity, tolerance, all of that. But for a kshatriya, it is heroism, power, determination, courage in battle. So all of these things are important. And then in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Madhya Leela, chapter 8, verse 58, it says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashram. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the four Varnas and Ashrams. So from this verse, importantly, just as a recap, and just to take what we should learn from this verse, is that in this human body, what is my duty? As a human being, because animals, birds, and trees don't get this chance. But as a human being, my duty is that I must try and get out of this cycle of repeated birth and death. And I must try to become a pure devotee of the Lord. If I am not trying to fulfill these duties as a human being, then I am actually doing adharma. So I am actually incurring sins for this. So whenever we have any kind of weakness, whenever we face any kind of problems, it'll help all of us to meditate on this verse and think how Krishna is reminding Arjuna about the promises that he has made, about the varna that he is in, about the duties that he has to fulfill as a Kshatriya. And then we must also think that what is my duty and responsibility as a human being? Of course, we have our duty and responsibility with the other aspects of our being also, as in that I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I am, so and so. We fulfill all of those. But over and above all of that is the responsibility and the duty of being born in this human form. And the most important thing, like I said, is to try and get out of the cycle of birth and death and to become a devotee of the Lord. So I'm sorry, I wanted to finish this verse a little early because I thought today we can discuss about this very wonderful Panihati Dahi Chira festival. So I'm sure a lot of you already must be aware of it, but for those who are not, today in fact is the this wonderful festival, and all over ISKCON, all over the world, actually this festival is celebrated, and this has started more than 500 years back. I think in today's lecture, Prabhuji was saying it's probably 505 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a festival where the best thing about it is that like I've written here, an apparent punishment turns into a joyous festival that brings a devotee to the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is about Raghunath Das Goswami, who is one of the 6 Goswamis. Quite a lot of you know about the 6 Goswamis. The 6 Goswamis were, sorry, again, there is some background sound. Please may I request everybody to mute yourselves. Thank you. So the 6 Goswamis, most of you know that these were followers of Mahaprabhu, and it is the 6 Goswamis who have actually given us a lot of our Vaishnav literature, have given us all these various dhams that we are able to visit, because they were the ones who actually, you know, the dhams were actually lost, and then it was the 6 Goswamis who got them back. So today we're talking about Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami was born in Sri Krishnapur, which is in West Bengal. His father was Govardhan Mazumdar, and his uncle was Hidanya Mazumdar. Now these people, the father and uncle, were extremely rich landlords. And between the two of them, they only had this one son, which was Raghunath Das Goswami. So obviously they expected him to take over their business. They were extremely rich. I mean, in today's standards, I don't know who we could compare them to. They were extremely rich. But they were also Vaishnavas. They were devotees of the Lord. Raghunath Das Goswami, from his childhood, obviously born in a Vaishnav family. The first time, he was in fact the first of the 6 Goswamis to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he met Mahaprabhu in Shantipur when Mahaprabhu had already taken sannyas and he had come to meet his mother. It was at that time that Raghunath Das Goswami saw Mahaprabhu, and when he came back after seeing Mahaprabhu, he lost all interest in the material world. He was not at all interested in any of these material activities. And when his father and uncle saw this, they were very worried. So they decided that the best thing to do is that, you know, let us get him married. Because what Raghunath Das Goswami was doing was he was constantly trying to run away from home because he wanted to go to Mahaprabhu. That was his sole desire. So the family got him married. But even after the marriage, obviously, he was still not interested in the material life. And then the second time, Mahaprabhu visited Shantipur again. And Raghunath Das Goswami got the chance to meet Mahaprabhu. And at that time, he expressed his desire that I am not interested in this material life. I want to give up everything and be in your association. So at that time, Mahaprabhu explained to him that you must not give up your duties. Go back, fulfill all your responsibilities as a good businessman, but in your heart, constantly think of Krishna. And then Krishna will show his mercy and will give you guidance. So Raghunath Das Goswami went back home, followed the instructions of Mahaprabhu, and did as was requested. Then after some times, he heard that Lord Nityanand Prabhu has come to the house of Raghav Pandit, which was in Panihati, which was close to where Raghunath Das Goswami lived. So as you can see from the picture, Nityanand Prabhu is here. When Raghunath Das Goswami heard this, he wanted to go and take darshan of Nityanand Prabhu, and he requested his father. His father allowed him to go, but with servants and guards, because he was fearful that he will run away. So when he saw Nityanand Prabhu, at that time he was sitting under a banyan tree, and he was as effulgent as thousands and thousands of suns. And Raghunath Das Goswami felt so contaminated and such a materialistic person that he did not want to go in front of such an exalted personality. So from far, he was paying his obeisances. And at that time, one of the servants of Nityanand Prabhu said to Nityanand Prabhu that there is Raghunath Das Goswami who is paying his obeisances. Nityanand Prabhu said to him, "Why are you offering your obeisances from so far? Why don't you come close?" And he said, "You're a thief, because thieves keep their distance." And saying that, he asked Raghunath Das Goswami to come close. And as you can see, then Raghunath Das Goswami paid his obeisances. Nityanand Prabhu put his feet on the head of Raghunath Das Goswami, and he said to him that, "Now, because you have been captured by me, as a thief, you must be punished." And what was the punishment that he gave to Raghunath Das Goswami? He said, "You are the son of a very wealthy man. So I want you to feed all my associates dahi chida." I don't know if, sorry, I don't know how many of you have ever tasted this chida dahi. What chida is it is
Flat
what's
rice.
that? Flat rice and dahi, curd. So in parts of Bihar and Bengal, I'll tell you one thing, this is like a staple. It can go as a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anything. People can eat it at any time. So it is just flat rice and dahi, but obviously, as soon as Nityanand Prabhu gave this punishment to Raghunath Das Goswami, he was very, very happy because he was getting the opportunity to serve the Vaishnavas. And then he obviously made arrangements for all that. And I will not go into the details of the recipe of the dahi chuda that you can find from the internet. But he made all these arrangements and he distributed this to everybody. As word spread, more and more and more people started coming to this place. And as you can see, this was on the banks of the river Ganga, and people were actually standing in the river because there was no place anymore on the land. They were standing in the river and still eating this chida dahi. And it says that Nityanand Prabhu was so pleased with Raghunath Das Goswami's offering that he mentally thought of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited Mahaprabhu also to come there. And obviously Mahaprabhu came, as you can see in this picture, that's Mahaprabhu. He came there. And then what Nityanand Prabhu did is that from each and every pot, he would go around to all the devotees gathered there. From each pot, he would take a small morsel of the dahi chida and feed it to Mahaprabhu. Now, the thing was that people could not see Mahaprabhu. So it was almost like Nityanand Prabhu giving, this hand movement in the air. And then suddenly the morsel is disappeared from his hand, and then Mahaprabhu reciprocated by taking from the pot and feeding it to Nityanand Prabhu. And this way, there was this lovely reciprocation of love between Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu. And all the devotees then had this dahi chida. And then the next day, Raghunath Das Goswami came back to Nityanand Prabhu and he paid his obeisances and he spoke his heart. He said, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to leave this materialistic life and I want to be with you and I want to be with Mahaprabhu. And Nityanand Prabhu asked all the assembled devotees and his associates that here, this is such a wonderful Vaishnav. He has as much riches as Lord Indra, but he wants to give up everything because of his love for Mahaprabhu. So please, everybody, bless Raghunath Das Goswami that he can go to Jagannath Puri and be in the association of Mahaprabhu. And Nityanand Prabhu then blessed Raghunath Das Goswami, and he said that you will be the close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is my blessing to you. So today is that festival, that day when Nityanand Prabhu, the original Guru, the Jagat Guru, gave his mercy to Raghunath Das Goswami. And here again, we have a lesson that we can never approach the Supreme Lord on our own directly. We must always take the mercy of the Guru if we want to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yeah, I thought I would just cover this briefly. I'm sorry it was really brief, but I thought at least we can discuss this. And now if you have any questions on the verse or on this festival, then or any comments, corrections, any additions, if anybody wants to make, then please go ahead. No
Hare Krishna,
comments?
Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for a wonderful class. I did make dahi chida this time, and it was delicious. First time I tried it, and absolutely delicious. Highly recommended. but Mataji, I had a question regarding the verse. So you talked about varnashram, and but within ISKCON, I mean, I've read in many places where Shudras were converted transformed into Brahmins. So how does that varnashram work within ISKCON then?
Okay, the first thing that we have to understand, and which Prabhupada used to say in a lot of his lectures, is that in Kali Yuga, all of us are Shudras. Each and every one of us is a Shudra in Kali Yuga. So that's the first thing. The second thing we need to understand is that as Krishna has stated in the Bhagavad Gita, this is chapter 4, verse 13, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So it is by Guna, it is not by your birth. So you don't become a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra by birth. You become that by your gunas. So in ISKCON, if you have come to ISKCON and you've taken to Krishna consciousness and you are following the path of trying to become a devotee of the Lord and to serve the Lord, already you are elevating yourself from whatever, quality that you have. Varna would be like what you're born with, and as Indians, I know a lot of us have this misconception. I'm born a Brahmin, I am born Kshatriya, but Prabhupada cleared this misconception straight away, saying we all are Shudras. So when we all are Shudras, we are all starting from the same starting line, if you call it that. All of us, whether we are Indians or white-bodied or black, and that is why Prabhupada was able to make so many of the disciples to Brahmanas, because the starting line was same. All of us are Shudras, right? And what makes you a Brahmana, what makes you a Vaishnav, is when you put Krishna in the center, when you realize that my body is just so that I can serve Krishna. And that is what Krishna consciousness is all about. So in ISKCON, the Varnas, there is ashram, and that is all based on your guna, on your quality. Each one of us has got a psychophysical nature. My nature may be that I like studying or I am more academic. So then I can be trained to become a Brahmana. Or my nature is that I really love cleaning. Give me any kind of menial job. I love doing that. So I will be trained to become that. But we all are trained to become Vaishnavas. And that is even higher than all these four Varnas.
Okay. So once we put Krishna in our life, we bring Krishna in our life, then even if we have Sudra qualities, they are then transformed into Vaishnava or Brahman qualities.
Yes, and that is what Prabhupada did, because That is how, when he took all of these people, his European and American disciples, to India, there was this, kind of people were so against, because they said, how can you make these mlechas into brahmanas? But Prabhupada explained, and he quoted his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, saying that one does not become brahmana or kshatriya or shudra by birth, but it is by the gunas. And if these people are following everything that a Vaishnav and a brahmana should do, then why can't they become brahmanas?
Yes. Thank you,
That's
Madhu. Very good.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Madhu Kumari, as usual, you've done a wonderful, so wonderful. Actually, it goes through my heart when you speak. It's so clear, from the beginning. You choose the right word, and then explain onto this. And these are, I find it very easy to understand. Then, when you pick up the main word which is prominent for the verse. And that way we understand the full meaning of that verse. So it's very important. And as I always say, because you have a teaching quality, so that always, comes out through your lesson. Also, thank you very much for that. And also for the second one, which Hema Mataji asked, or Hema asked, regarding the Shudra quality going to the Brahmana. That's what the conversation Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had with the Ramananda Rai, isn't it? Then you say, say more. So actually our dharma then is like Devi Varnashram dharma. So that's when those Shudra quality also, it doesn't matter. Once you become on the platform of Vaishnava, all our Varna doesn't exist. So we become Vaishnava. So becoming of the disciple or the bhakta of Vishnu, then there is nothing exist except that.
Thank you, Palaka Mataji. And all that I'm doing is I'm repeating what I hear and read. So I'm just repeating all of that. So,
but your reading is very profound, and you understand it and you clearly explain it. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. If there are no questions, then maybe we can stop here. It's already almost 10 to 9. So thank you all for joining, and thank you for joining every evening. It's wonderful to have this association. And just because I get this opportunity for this wonderful service, there is so much that I am learning as well. It's amazing. Like today, when I was researching for this lecture, and I learned so many new things, I was just feeling very excited and happy to learn so many new things. So thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Vanchakalpatrivipascha kripa sindhu
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you, Madhu.